Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shellcraft One and my old barn door, and I finally got finished with my journals, and so now I can do my collab video. I'm doing a collab with Lisa. She is Handmade from Lisa on Etsy and YouTube, and I will try to put her links in the description box below. But basically what it is, it's a collab, and I've never done this before, so it's kind of all new to me. But what you do is you're gonna make scrap packs. She said we make scrap packs, and I'll link her video below as well. But we make scrap packs and send them out as Happy Mail, and then we can use this hashtag in our videos. HM for Happy Mail scrap packs. And so then we can all go onto Instagram and see everybody's pictures and see what they're doing and all that fun stuff, so that you know, everybody can see what everybody else is doing. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I make the little folders that the scraps are going to go in, and I'll give you an example. Laura Vasquez sent me this one, and I showed this on I think it was my last video. Super cute, and you can go as elaborate or as simple as you want to, and I think I'm going to go pretty simple because I have a lot of scraps. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you. This is ridiculous. This is my scrap box. Okay, this is also a really good way to organize your scraps. Okay, like, you know, if you've got a box like this, and this is just one of the boxes that I have, which again is ridiculous, but I have lots and lots of scraps in here, you know, of things that I want to do. And there's old book pages, there's scrapbooking paper, there's vintage music, all kinds of stuff. And then not only do I have this box, and this is a pretty good size box. I mean, it's one of those little snack boxes, you know, that you get the potato chips in. So it's a good size scrap box. And then I have this one that I have piano paper, vintage music paper, old Sears catalog pages, different things like this. So this is, I think this is from a French history book, maybe. Brown paper bag, cut-offs from some digitals, things like that, you know, wallpaper, vintage wallpaper. So you don't have to just use like the scrapbooking paper. You can use any kind of paper that you want to use. So I think what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to make my folders, and then we'll separate the scraps if we have time in the video. I'm not going to make the video super long, just simply because, you know, I try to make short videos, you guys, but I just stink at it. Just to be honest. So here is these. I also I'm going to show you how to make these folders like I do with like my ephemera kits and stuff, because I had one of my subscribers who had asked me to do a video and show how I make those. And so I'm going to make some of those to use for scrap packs, and then I'll make some different ones, time permitting. So this is what I start with when I do my kit packs. Okay, and what I do is I just take whatever scrapbooking paper that I want to use, and I cut it into an 8 by 5 strip. So it's going to be 8 inches long and 5 inches wide. And then I just simply take, you know, I cut my corners to match like a tag, and then I punch a hole in the top here just to make it look like a tag. And so on these, you can use this side to put your pockets on. Now these pockets, these are the pockets that I've cut for these, and these have been sitting in my basket forever, simply because I haven't had time. I just haven't had time to make any more kits. So I'm hoping to be able to make some more kits coming up soon. But these measure 5, of course, because you're going to go 5 inches across. by 3. So I do them 3 inches high. And I do that, and then I'll stack. I'm going to turn this over so you can see it better. So what I do is I'm just going to stack them. I'll start with the middle one. That way I can kind of measure how it's going to look. I think I'm going to start with the top. What I usually do is I'm going to line the top up with where the corners are cut. So at the very bottom of that corner is where I'm going to start my top pocket. And then I'm going to line this one up here on top of that one. And then line this one up here on top of that one. And that way I just kind of get a good idea of, you know, where my pockets are going to lay. And then I'm going to scoot these over. And I'm going to take my glue. Now, if you're sewing these, I would just use a very little bit of glue. But I'm not going to sew these ones today, just for time's sake. But normally, if I'm doing them for kits, I do sew them because I stuff the kits full and I want them to hold well. I don't glue on the bottom simply because if I want something a little bit longer to go in that top pocket, I can still slide it all the way down the length of the tag, and it'll go into the pocket. And that way it doesn't limit me as far as, you know, how far I can go with it. So then I'm just going to glue that on there. And then I'm going to take the second one and do the same thing. I'm just going to glue my sides. And then I'm just going to stack that kind of right on top of that one. And I usually leave about 3/4 to 1 inch of the top pocket showing. And again, I don't glue the bottom so that, you know, if I need something long to go in there. And then on the very bottom one, I do glue the bottom because that's where I want it to stop and I don't want anything falling through. So we're just going to glue all 3 edges. And again, if I was going to sew this, I would literally or actually use a glue stick because that's not too sticky for my sewing machine. And it makes it a little easier for the needle to run through that kind of glue versus, because you know, this art glitter glue, it's good stuff. If you use this art glitter glue, your stuff ain't going anywhere. So, and that's pretty much how I make my pockets for my kits. Now, if you wanted the double pockets like I do sometimes for my kits, then I'm going to give you the measurements. I'm not going to show you one because I don't have one ready to show you, but it works just basically like this. You're just going to take whatever length you want your paper. This is a digital I'm working on in my shop, so I thought I might use one of these because I'm really liking the way they're turning out. But anyways, you would just take, like these are 5 inches by 8 inches, so instead you would cut it 10 inches by 8 inches and then just fold it in half. Once you have it folded in half, then you would cut your corners for your tag shape. So that's how you would do the double one. And then you put the pockets on the very same way. You would just put them, you know, inside your little booklet. So that's how you do the double ones. So what we're going to do, hang on guys. Sorry, I had to cough and I didn't want to cough in your ear. So what we're going to do, see, you can use this as an actual pocket in your journals too. Once you finish with, you know, whatever you have inside it. And it makes a cute little pocket to go into a journal too. You can tie a bow at the top. Whatever you want to do with it, just be creative and make it. You can either make it as simple as you want it, or you can make it elaborate. It's completely and totally up to you. So now, once I get my pockets made, and I'm going to make several because I have a lot of scraps. But for the video, I'm not going to, you know, finish making more pockets. I'm just going to go ahead and pull some scraps, and I'll show you what we're going to do with them. So let's just, you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to pull the top of the stack off, and we'll start from there. Now, see, things like this, some people might think, oh, she sent me her trash. But I love stuff like this because I love the ripped look. you know, and I don't want things always cut perfectly. So I'm just going to rip this off, because that's just the little white part at the top of your paper. And then you've got a scrap piece that can go into your little scrap pack. So, and you can make them as tall or as short as you want. I have all different sizes. So I have, you know, these pinks that have been ripped. So we're just going to rip that in half where it's folded. I have this big pink. So instead of leaving it this big and trying to overwhelm it, I'm gonna rip it in half. And y'all know I'm a ripper. I'm not a cutter. So I would rather have things ripped than cut. So see, you just start taking your pieces, and I'm going to turn this one over this way. Okay, now see, I've got that one too wide. So I am going to rip from this side and just make it a little bit smaller so that it fits into my pocket. And now you can make bigger size ones. I just did this size one so that I could show my subscriber how to do the kit pockets that I was making. Okay, so then you're just going to start stuffing your scraps in. And I'm going to put some of these down here and some of these up here. And I'm going to absolutely stuff these. Now, this was left over from one of the journals that I just made. And so guess what? It's going in here, because I want to share and I want to have some Happy Mail packs ready to give away, because I have some ideas in mind. And even pieces like this you can put in here, because, you know, people will use those. The music ones, I'm just going to rip a piece off. I'm going to rip it. Oops. Well, I didn't mean to rip that much, but okay. We'll go with it. So I'm going to put this in the top. And I'm just going to try and put together a whole bunch of coordinating scraps. And even like this was a book cover. I love using stuff like this in my journals. And so I'm going to make a pretty torn edge on that and tuck a piece of that in there too. So that not only do you get scrap paper, but you also get some good vintage pieces as well. I like this one, and I love my tear rulers, and sometimes I'll use different sides of my tear rulers like that. Super cute. And then I'm just going to tuck them in. Now, I don't want everything in here to be vintage papers. You know, I want to definitely have some scrapbook papers. Now, this is, let me move all of this. These are some printables that I'm working on, and when I printed the test pages off, I realized that I needed to change out my printer ink, but I realized too late. So, you know, I'm going to tear these up and I'm going to use them in scraps somehow, but I'm not going to put them in these because I have plenty of other scraps to share. So see, like this piece here, I'm just going to take it and tuck it in a pleasing manner. And even like your graph paper scraps, you know, I use graph paper a lot for measuring my spines and things like that. And so it doesn't really matter what kind of a scrap you have. The whole purpose is just to make Happy Mail packs out of your scrap papers, so that number one, you're not overwhelmed with your scrap papers, and also so that you can have some Happy Mail packs ready to send out to people. You know, when you need to send somebody a Happy Mail, you have them already made. Now this, I cut off of the edge of a page, and so I'm going to trim it up because it's got a little scraggly right there. And then you can even, it doesn't have to be square pieces. It can be any size piece you want. And I like to use it to kind of decorate into the scrap pack. And see, like this, I'm just going to tear this in half. And even little pieces like this, you can use them in clusters or collage strips or anywhere you want to use them. But I love the pinks and the greens that are going in here. Let's see. Now, some of these are just white cardstock pieces. And I keep these because I'll make tags with those, or I'll emboss them, or whatever I can, you know, think to do with them. But I keep them because, you know, it's still good paper, and cardstock is not cheap. So I'm just going to tuck that one up in there. And then I want another pink piece up in the top. And see, I just have these little strips. So I'm going to put a pink piece up there. And then this piece can go, I love this paper. It looks 70s-ish to me. And so I'm just going to keep stuffing this little envelope till I can't stuff anything else in there. And then once I'm finished, now I'm not finished stuffing this one. I'm going to keep stuffing some goodies in here. But for the video purposes, you know, I'm going to shorten it a little bit. But say this is finished, and then I'm going to take a pretty ribbon or a piece of lace, or whatever I can find that I love. And I'm going to put it through the hole that I punched at the top. And you can do this before you stuff it if it's easier for you. It probably would have been easier for me to do that. And then you're just going to pull that out like that. And then you have your tag-shaped scrap pack. So you can clear out your scrap packs or your scrap box just by making a bunch of these little scrap packs and having them sitting, you know, in one spot ready for you to grab when you need to send out Happy Mail. So I'm going to show you one other folder that you can make. And I'll go ahead and use this because it's just, let me see what the measurements are on this. It is 8 1/4 by a little over 5 It's not quite 5 1/4, but it's a little bit over 5 1/4. Now I just took it and inked around the edges. I've already got my crease folded, and so I'm going to take some of my scraps. Like this is thin, so I won't use it for that. I'm going to use that in a collage or something. But I want to find a couple of pieces to make some pockets on each side. And I'll show you. Let's see, what do we have? I'm trying to kind of match it up. Okay, here's a good piece. This is a good size piece. Okay. So let me measure this real quick. I'm sorry if I'm bumping the camera. I've got my camera plugged in right now. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 5 1/8 from the center crease. Okay. So I'm going to cut my pocket at 5 1/8, and I'm going to cut 2 of them so that I can have the same kind of pocket on each side. Here, I'll cut from the top so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. I tend to cut from the bottom most of the time. Now see, I still have a scrap there, so it can go back in to the scrap pack for another journal, for another, you know, another piece to go in. Okay, so then once I get these done or cut, I'm just going to glue around it. I finally was able to get me some more art glitter glue, so I am super excited about that because I needed a new tip too, so I got a new tip because mine was just not wanting to work real well anymore. Now I've left just a tiny, tiny space between this pocket and the crease so that it will fold easier. Okay, and then we're just going to put this on the very bottom down here as a pocket and just get it lined up. And again, this art glitter glue holds really well, so if you don't want to sew it, you can use the art glitter glue, or you can use the glue stick and just sew around your edges, you know, if you prefer to sew. So you can decorate the front if you want to. You can decorate the back if you want to. But I just want to do something really simple because I am trying to just kind of get through my scraps. And so, you know what? I'm going to take one of these French book pages. And these are really good, thick book pages. And once my glue dries, I'm just going to start another scrap pack. And I'm just using one pocket for this. So I'm just going to stuff it as much as I can stuff it. And I'm just going to start sticking stuff down in there and making it pretty. Grace, it's Mama. You're barking at me, silly. She cracks me up. And even little pieces like this, I use pieces like this in my collages and my clusters. So you can even use little pieces like that. I have some really, really pretty pieces in here I'm going to pull out because I've got some floral-y pieces. And, you know, this is like a 12-inch strip, so I'm just going to fold it in half and tuck it down in there. And then here's a 12-inch strip. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And you don't have to. You can cut them apart if you want to. But the whole, you know, the whole shooting shebang or the whole deal with it is to, you know, trim down your scrap bin is what we're trying to do. I love, love, love this one. It's such a pretty paper. I use it in a lot of my journals. So I'm just folding some of these strips down and poking them in. Now here's a bigger strip. So I think what I might do with this one is tear it. Okay. And then I don't want to overwhelm it with blue, so we're going to put this blue over here. Okay, sorry about that. My son came home from work. Okay, so then I'm going to poke a little piece of this. And I want a variety of stuff in this little pack here. So let's see. That one's pretty. And I love, love the gingham. But I think it's too much blue. So let's try, this one's super cute. Let's tear this one in half, or somewhat. And we'll put him up here at the top. And so that's all you do is you just keep stuffing goodness in until you can't stuff any more goodness in. Here's pieces of vintage wallpaper. So I'm going to tuck some of that in because they're great for collages and clusters and, you know, different kinds of things. This one's really, really pretty. So I'm going to tuck this one in. And I want to have different size pieces in here as well. I don't want just, you know, all the same size pieces. So anyway, you kind of get the gist of it. I don't want to make the video too long, but so this is a folding one. And this is just, you know, a single one. And so I'm going to make a bunch of these scrap packs up and get them out into the mail to some very sweet people who I know who they deserve to get some happy mail. So anyways, I'm going to put the hashtag in the description box below. I will link Lisa's video and her channel in the description box below so that you can check out her video and run over to Instagram and check out all the other ladies' work. And yeah, just have fun with it. This is basically just a way to have fun and kind of get through your scraps. And, you know, because, I mean, this is a very large box of scrap paper, you know, and I am never in a lifetime going to be able to use all of, I mean, as you can see, I don't think I can get to the bottom of it, you know. So to share it with people and show people some love, I think is an awesome idea. So great idea, Lisa. And thank you for asking me to take a part in your collab. So anyways, thank you, Lisa, for including me and asking me to play along. And I hope that you ladies join in too. Anybody who wants to can make these little scrap packs and put your little hashtag in there. There it is again, in case you didn't see it in the beginning. And, you know, link your videos to me. You can put your videos links in the description box below and go and put them in Lisa's as well. And just have fun with it. This is just a way to have fun and to share with other people and show people a little bit of love. So, hope you guys have fun with it, and thanks for watching. Leave any comments or questions that you have in the comment box below. Please like and subscribe to the videos, and y'all have a great day. Big hugs.